And we are live. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. What a rough start to the day. I don't think you guys realize what I had to go through to get here today, but we are here. And I appreciate all of you guys joining and the guys in the waiting room. Let me just get everything set up here. What a rush. Just want to get Jamin in here as well. How's everyone doing this morning? Hope everyone is doing well. Let's just get Jeeva's spot here on the screen. Thanks so much, Mo. Haven't even had any coffee as of yet. Right, guys, Friday 25th. I'm wearing green. I've got the Springboks playing tonight, so gonna support that. And I think before we start, first thing for me, just to quickly look at what we've got going on today. Remember yesterday, Jackson Hole Symposium, and also today, the entire day starting at 4. Big one today, we've got Powell speaking, and this is going to be the main one. Yesterday was just like the intro, but today Powell. So a lot of volatility coming in. Michigan Consumer Index, Sentiment Index as well this afternoon. And then 4:05, it's going to be a cracker. We've got Powell, and then later Christine Lagarde, 9 o'clock, but that shouldn't affect us today as we trade. So with that being said, let's start off with our analysis, and I'm going to jump straight into the DXY, and we're going to start looking at where we want to go today. And remember, from the start of the week, we were bullish purely due to the fact that we cleared this prior area of resistance right here. This prior area of resistance, we closed above it. And if you go back to Monday's stream, you would hear me mention the next area we can potentially go to is this 104.25 area. So we are currently at that level. Do note, for the guys that have traded with me, Fridays tend to do the reversal, either not during London or during NYSE session. So if you missed all of this bullish price action during the week, now is not necessarily the time to jump on board, but just be aware that Fridays can reverse. So with that being said, I am bullish on the day. I'm going to check where we are in terms of our Asia range, Asia high, Asia low. And a little bit later on, while we wait for our setups to play out, I will exactly explain my strategy to all of you guys. I've been getting a lot of DMs as to what are pivots, how do I trade them, why do you use the Asia range. So we're going to spend some time on that while we wait for our setups. But with that being said, we are quite a bit away from our daily pivot at 103.76. We are quite extended, so let's see what we do at Asia highs. We have already hit 104.25 as mentioned. So any moves above here are going to be some type of exhaustion move to the upside to fake out the guys that are late to the party. But we obviously know we need to wait for our setups. But with that being said, DXY. Sorry guys, so DXY, bullish on the day. We obviously know we're quite extended, so just keeping that in mind. I'm going to wait for London open, and I want to see what happens round about these Asia highs, whether we spike them and come back inside the Asia range. If we do so, I want to come take some short positions on dollar counter pairs, but that is what I'm expecting on the dollar. This Asia high this morning is going to be the key level to monitor, 104.20. That will be the make or break level of whether we're going to continue higher or whether we're going to start seeing a pullback up until we've got Powell on at 4:05. So USD ZAR, daily bias bullish, nice bullish engulfing candle. Remember yesterday when we were talking about our daily bias, I said we are bearish yesterday. But due to the fact that we close right at a support level, there's a very high potential that we can pull all the way back, which we did. So on the day, I'm going to go with the bullish bias. Just want to pull my Asia ranges up so long so we can get some context as of where we are trading. and currently we've already spiked Asia highs. Let me just mark out the Asia highs for us right here. Asia highs, Asia lows, quite a big expansive range during Asia, also trading at the weekly S1 level. So I am bullish on this. Ideally I would have wanted it closer to the daily pivot, but I'll see where we are trading during London Open, and if we can find some type of support at the Asia lows at 1880, I will still consider longs. I would not consider shorts on this pair for the day. The only way that I can consider any type of shorts on USD ZAR is if we start extending past the Asia lows, we come back and we reject this Asia low area right here. That's the only way I'll be looking for shorts. But going into the session, I will be looking to buy the Asia lows at 1880. That is my plan for the session. I am still bullish on the day. The weekly, you would see I've mentioned we are neutral. Go back to Monday, Tuesday for the reason why I mentioned we are neutral on the week. GU weekly as well, I mentioned that we are neutral. And let me actually just remove this weekly S1 level right here. Reason why I started, this is the weekly time frame, guys. Reason why I started my week off as neutral is due to the fact that we closed bullish right up against the past resistance, also this area of potential support holding. And I also mentioned that with the bearish momentum that we've got going on, this could be a support area to be broken. So that's why I was neutral on the week, and I said it could go either way. We're either going to break back up into the range or we're going to break down. So currently, if the weekly closes somewhere like this below 126.32, next week is going to be very easy in terms of waiting for the pullback on the weekly time frame to then take shorts all the way back into this range. So that is what we would expect next week if this weekly candle closes strong bearish. What I would not want to see is this weekly candle pulling all the way back up and closing above this area, because that's going to make it quite tricky in terms of going short. With that being said, daily bias, let's quickly look at where we are on the day. So I'm bearish on the day. I do, however, need to consider this level right here. Let me just show you guys. So looking left, this was a prior area of support. Closed below it. Massive expansion candle. I'm honestly not expecting too much today after these massive expansions. Look at that 3 days worth of decline and you get some type of pullback. We've had 4 days worth of declines, so just be aware. Again, as I mentioned, it is Friday, pullbacks can occur, but on the day I am bearish. And in terms of context of where we can potentially look for trades, I'm going to jump down to my 5-minute time frame and let's see where we are. So already spiked Asia lows. Asia highs are still intact. However, my accumulation distribution is still telling me there's a lot of bearish pressure on this pair. So two things that I will consider here. I will either wait for my accumulation distribution, this indicator right here, to get above the 200. And if we start diverging on price at these Asia lows, this is Asia lows, that is Asia highs. If we start diverging at Asia lows, I will try for a pullback. So potential buys, even though we're bearish, potential buys from here. But let's say we push up during London Open to the Asia highs, I will then still consider shorts to the downside. So looking for sells unless we start diverging, and if we get some type of fake out below Asia lows and we come all the way back inside of the Asia range, I will be looking for longs off these Asia lows. And also, as I mentioned, I want to see some divergence on the accumulation distribution indicator. So bearish on the day, but also considering some type of pullback play going into this session. Just want to drop this music down a bit. Just let me know if the music is louder than my voice, guys, and I can just turn that down. Weekly, as mentioned on gold, we were bearish. Daily, however, on Wednesday, no bottom wick, and we mentioned there's a potential for price to come back to create that bottom wick on the weekly time frame. However, in terms of the daily, as you can see, we are still bullish on the day. So my bias has not changed in terms of where I want to go on the daily. I'm still bullish on the daily, even though I am bearish on the weekly. In terms of our trading plan for gold this morning, currently a lot of bearish pressure on the accumulation distribution, and what I want to see is whether we can start diverging as well in terms of the 80. So if we can start getting back above the 200, I would consider longs. Where would I consider these longs from? I would consider them either from these lows. If we start diverging, I want to see these Asia lows hold for a potential move back up to the Asia highs. The other move is we're either going to sit in this range up until Powell this afternoon, where it's literally going to spike up and down like this, trapping the impatient traders, and we are going to get our big move on gold this afternoon after Powell. So don't expect too much on gold, but I am bullish on the day. I will be monitoring these Asia lows, and if we for some reason really start moving during London Open, I would then consider buys from these Asia highs as well as the daily pivot around about 1917, and this could be an area for us to start considering some buys. GJ, let's quickly jump into the GJ analysis and let's see where we are in terms of price. So weekly, we started off bullish, very high potential that we are coming back to retest this breakout area right here. And currently, yesterday we broke last week's low, so that is quite bearish. But let's see on the day, I am still bearish on the day up until we get a bullish daily candle closure. I cannot be bullish on this. So looking left with me, yesterday closed slightly back into the range. Just want to show you guys right here that previous area of resistance. There's the breakout. Initially, guys would have thought that this could be like some type of rejection, but again, if you know how I trade, these wicks are the easiest money you'll make in terms of just following the daily candles. So today, still bearish. We already broke Thursday's low and Wednesday's low. So let's see what we can get on GJ. So 5 minute, let's just quickly pull in our Asia range. Asia range still intact. We have not taken the lows and we have not taken the highs as of yet. Currently trading below the daily pivot, which is indicating bearish pressure, and I will look for sells. So ideally my sell zone would be this 184 area, and I'm actually going to go ahead and set an alert for 184. That is the area where I will be looking for sells on GJ. And if we can get a pullback during London Open into that area 184, I will then consider sells to come and take these Asia lows at 183.36. So bearish on the day. Let's see what we get on GJ. UJ started off the week with a bullish bias. We are almost at the previous week's high, easy wick fill. In terms of the daily, I am bullish on the day due to the fact that we have now formed some type of support. We have also closed back above this range. I think it was Tuesday we mentioned that we formed like some type of range right here, so making it quite tricky. So 3-wave pullback, corrective, and now we want to see some bullish momentum entering the market today. So daily bias. Fine. Okay, sweet. I'll check now. Apologies, guys. Just want to get Ian on board here. So UJ, I am bullish on the day, and I just want to grab our Asia lows and Asia highs right here, and let's get some context as to where we can potentially trade from. So welcome on, thank you for joining. Alright guys, UJ, I am bullish on the day, and what I want to see is, even though we're quite far away from the daily pivot 145.50, I am bullish still on the day. My ideal scenario would be to get some buys from these Asia lows if we get it. I would say 146, that is my ideal. However, I would like something like this to happen, where we actually spike down below the Asia lows and then immediately come back into it. I want the market to fake out the sellers, and then I want to buy up here. So that is my idea for UJ. I am bullish. I am going to set some alerts for us at 145.93. That is where I will look for my longs on UJ. Okay, US 30, very, very interesting. And I think I should actually just clear my charts quickly and give you guys some context as to what we discussed on Monday. So remember, I talked about this level. I think we were stuck against this level for almost 6 weeks. We chatted about this in the office. This was an area that every time we sold off, we could never close above it. So on the 10th of July, we had our first weekly closure above this level. We continued up and we started retracing. So on Monday, I mentioned that if price on the weekly is going to close below this range, this entire move up becomes a fake out. That entire move up becomes a fake out, and we are going to come all the way back into the range with our first target being these lows right here. And if we start breaking below those lows, we are coming all the way back to 3,300. So we've got Powell coming up. We've got Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. So for bulls to really come back into this weekly would need to pull all the way back up and close bullish above 34,400. Otherwise, it is not good news for bulls. And with that being said, our weekly bias was bearish. And let me just bring back all my drawings quickly on this chart, and then we can take it from there. So weekly bias bullish. Our weekly bias was bearish. I don't know why it's showing bullish there, but bearish due to the fact that we have not yet had a weekly bullish candle closure. Daily also going to be bearish. Let me just show you guys what I'm looking at. And I will also share my trades I took during NYSE yesterday. Took some very nice sells on US 30. So currently a lot of bearish pressure in the markets, and very difficult for me to sell close to these lows. I would rather wait for some type of divergence to form at 34,075. If we can get some type of pullback, I want to see these lows being taken and then Asia lows holding. Or if we can push all the way back up to the daily pivot level right at this level, and our accumulation distribution is still pointing down like it's currently doing, then I would consider sells. But as I've mentioned before, your higher probability sells are closer to the Asia highs and closer to your daily pivot, and your higher probability buys are closer to the Asia lows and also your daily pivot. But daily bias is bearish. If I just show you the daily chart yesterday, as you can see, break out of this support, potential support area being formed right there. We've broken that. So where can we go next? If we're going to get some bearish momentum, this would obviously be your next target down here. So daily bias is bearish. I just want to see some type of pullback back to the Asia highs to continue the sells. If we start trading down during London, let's say we start dropping all the way now during London, I can already tell you now that NYSE is going to pull all the way back up to these pivot levels right there. So neutral at this stage in terms of my positioning. I want to sell from the daily pivot, and if we get some type of spike below Asia lows, I want to buy. Nasdaq, let's quickly jump through Nasdaq. Very similar analysis to Dow Jones. And remember, when we started the week, I said we have this area here. I just want to delete all of this other text to not confuse you. But I mentioned that we closed between two support areas, support and resistance. So we closed bearish, but we also closed above this area right here. This was a previous area of resistance. Last week closed bearish, and I mentioned I am bearish, but the fact that we're so close to a support zone makes it very tricky for me on the weekly time frame. So what is quite interesting for me is that we've taken out last week's high. If you look at this right here, we've taken out last week's high and we have come all the way back. So where do you think price is going to go after pushing all that way up, breaking a previous weekly high, and now on the cusp of flipping bearish? Because all of these guys that were trying to buy Nasdaq are now in shit, because they are basically faked out. And now what do? Now you start panic buying or you start panic selling, and it's a shit show. So on the daily, I am bearish on the day. And let me just mark this out. I will be looking for bearish continuation. And let's see if we've got some context as to where we can take our trades from. So 5 minute, we know we're bearish on the day. Let's quickly mark out our Asia lows. We're already below Asia lows. And then Asia highs. Let me just get my template right there. And I will tell you exactly what I'm expecting and what we could potentially do. So we are quite deep down into a discount. I will not consider selling these lows. The only way that I can consider any type of sells or if we pull all the way back up to the daily pivot level right here, close to the 1500 level. I would not be considering sells here. This thing can literally retest the Asia lows and it can drop 1,000 pips. I'm not interested. My higher probability sells are from the daily pivot, and if we are already so far extended below the daily pivot, I'm not interested. So either I wait for NYSE for price to pull all the way back into this zone and get sells from there, or if I see some type of divergence during the London session from these Asia lows. And what I talk about divergence is my accumulation distribution doing something like this, where the moving average starts moving up and I actually get price trading above that, then I would consider buys, but no sells at this level. Selling lows and selling highs so deep into a discount is not necessarily my style. So bearish on the day. Ideally, I want to see some type of pullback all the way to the pivot from yesterday, and then I will look for bearish continuations. So Kwesi Mkize, I don't know if I butchered your name, but that's US Tech, Nasdaq. As I said, if you're patient enough, yesterday, we've got 5 minutes before London open. I want to show you my trades from yesterday that I took on US 30. and give you some context as to what I did. So yesterday we had the open. I saw this entire move. I was bearish yesterday, and I saw this entire move pumping up almost like, I think it was 1% from the open. Yeah, 0.82%. All while that was going on, I did not touch the buys due to the fact that the accumulation distribution was still below my 200 level, and I knew all of this was a fake out. So I literally waited for price to come all the way back to my daily pivot level, which is this blue line right here. That is my daily pivot level. And as soon as we came back to the daily pivot and we had this break of structure on the 5 minute, I executed my shorts right here, my stops above that 5 minute candle right there, and I targeted the S1, which is this level here. And even though it was only like a 1-to-1, this is the easiest setup you'll get. And some of the guys that have been in the office as well, that I've shown this strategy to, there's no ambiguity. It's literally straightforward. It's mechanical. I know what I'm looking for. I don't overthink it. It's not that I'm thinking here's an order block and it's going long. I'm literally trading levels. Price is going to go from the one pivot to either the S1, S2, or from the pivot to the R1 to the R2. And then there was another sell on this level right here, where if price is starting to gain momentum to the downside, it's very probable you're going to go to the next pivot level, which is the S2 level. And I only took like a 1-to-1 as well, due to the fact while you're sitting there and the rest of this price is yet to develop, you don't know if price is going to pull back. I think all of us knows that if you're sitting at the chart and you're taking a short right there, let me just show you guys visually, you like look at all of this clear real estate to the upside, and mentally your retail brain is telling you that price has to go up. But once price starts gaining momentum, it is very likely that that momentum is going to continue. So especially after a move like this, spiking, faking out all of the buyers, and I think you guys in the chat can talk about it as well, is where I think a lot of guys had this as some type of order block and absolutely got killed here. So those were my two trades on US30 yesterday. Played out quite nicely, and obviously hindsight you can tell yourself, why don't I hold longer, this and that, but that is not what it's about. We can't see into the future. We stick to our trading plan and we stick to what we know. GBP USD we handled at the start of the stream. Just rewind the stream, we actually went through all of the pairs. I'm not going to go through it again, just rewind it. We did a comprehensive analysis on GBP USD. Alright guys, welcome. Open is about to happen right now, and we've got some alerts set on GJ and UJ, and let's see where we are. Let's see if we can get some positions on this Friday.
Morning Chris, morning Javon.
Morning, I hope you're well, man.
Chris, I think you reached your most ever viewers to date.
Yeah,
we were up to 29, I think.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Please leave a like and subscribe. And remember, we're doing this for you guys to bring value. I can trade on my own, but I reached out to Vault and said I want to do something for the trading community, and I'm doing this all for free. I don't charge money. You see me trade live. We call our trades live during the live stream, and it is all for free. It will never cost you anything. It will literally only cost you a like. Manmat, we went through it, just stream back a little bit on the stream. We already ran through it. as I mentioned, I'll only be looking for sells at the daily pivot 34,300, this area right here. If we can pull all the way back to that level right there, very likely that we will take out the lows that performed yesterday. So no buys. It could buy, but according to my trading plan and according to my rules, no buys for me. The thing that I am looking to trade today is GJ. I want to look for shorts from the Asia highs, and UJ, I want to look for longs from the Asia lows. US 30 and Nasdaq. Nasdaq, I will consider buys from these Asia lows. The only thing I just need my accumulation distribution to start showing that there are buyers in the market. Currently, even if it pulls back, it's still showing the sellers overpowering the market. Full margin Fridays.
Chris, I just wanted to tell the stream as well. I do have, I did send out a signal on my mentorship this morning. I've got in buy limits on UJ at 145,997.
145,997. Oh, so you're literally almost in.
Yeah, okay. About 3 or 4 pips away from being entered. Exactly there, yeah.
I just want to close this door. Just give me a sec. Alright guys, I know the majority of Vault clients trade US 30 and Nasdaq. Would you guys want me to stream that, say, that hour and a half in the afternoons? Let me know in the chat. I think a lot of guys would want to see that, so let me know if you guys want me to stream just for, I would say, that first hour, basically hour and a half, because that's usually where I get my positions. If I don't get it before 5 o'clock, I'm not going to try and force it. So let me know in the chat if you guys would like a New York session stream where you trade US 30, only US 30 and Nasdaq live with me. Because I know that is, the thing is, US 30 and Nasdaq during London does not necessarily move so clean. We've obviously had a lot of fundamentals happening this week. So it did move quite a bit during London, but for the most part, the easy setups are during New York. So let me know. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to see. I'll tell you what, I'm going to see how my schedule is going to look. I will bring you an oat cup every day, my bro. I don't know if Mo is on the stream. Is Mo on the stream? Javon, just tell Mo there you should start working on a thumbnail for NYSE. Mo, we just need to get a thumbnail for NYSE session. We're still looking for a name for that, so this is obviously the opening bell. We've had quite a few good names, and I still have all of your names written down. I think we should throw all of those names into a hat, and then after that, give me some names. Are we going to call it full margin? What was the other one? States.
Chris, go look at USD, JPY. How's that for an entry?
Are you in?
I'm not. My spreads aren't good enough for this trade.
Guys, I haven't shared this trade. I still want it lower though. I don't know where your stops are, but I still want it lower. Asia lows. I want the Asia lows to be taken, and then I want to see price coming back up because we've already taken Asia highs. We haven't taken Asia lows yet, so I think you can still get in.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my buy limit in. My stops are at 145907, so basically just about 2-3 pips below Asia lows.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, welcome to all the first-time visitors. Really appreciate you guys on the stream. I think we are going to do a New York stream. I think a lot of guys are struggling during that time, and that is also. But that stream we will only be doing US 30 and NASDAQ. Actually only US 30. I don't really trade NASDAQ. It will purely be US 30. I'm actually considering end of this year only trading US 30. Due to the fact that it's currently, I didn't really trade it that much in the past, but for the last 6-7 months, I've really been dialed into it. And yeah, it's been going well. We struggle every day. What are you guys struggling with though? Trading is not really supposed to be difficult. If you've got a process and you've got a strategy, then it should be pretty straightforward. It should actually be boring. That is the weird fact, that if your trading is exciting, you're almost probably doing it wrong. Let me hear, what are you guys struggling with the most in the chat? What is it that you find you are not consistent with? And we can maybe chat about that while we wait for price to reach our zones. One thing I know is that guys struggle with discipline, and discipline unfortunately is not something you can teach. Discipline is something that is either in you or not, and you need to cultivate discipline. Even if you're starting off with just telling yourself, I am going to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes, or I am going for a walk every day for 15 minutes. Discipline you cultivate. Repetition, doing the same thing over and over and getting into that habit. I'm struggling with analysis, not good entries. I struggle with entry points. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about entry points, and let's give some context as to what it is. So I'm gonna give you guys the crux of what I do. I'm not saying it's the end all and be all. For instance, Hein trades SMC concepts, Javon trades like a hybrid of, I don't know, some market assassin techniques. But for me personally, I just trade levels. I see the market as levels. So for me, my context is Asia highs and Asia lows. That is basically, let's call it the foundation of where I want to enter from. And then secondly is the pivots. So just to let you guys know, the pivots that I use, it's on your indicators. It's just called the pivot point standard, and I use it on the 5-minute time frame. And basically the pivot is not a lagging indicator. The pivot is levels that's used from the previous day, so they set, they're not going to move. And if you can buy or sell as close to the daily pivot as you can, that is your neutral point basically for the day, then you are relatively in good hands. The next thing is just to determine your daily bias. And then once you've determined that and you know where you want to enter from, The next thing is your entry model. And I'm actually we're busy developing a course that will be available to all of the Vault Markets clients that have funded accounts with them. And I will really share my strategy in depth on that, and we can potentially have like some type of trading combine in coming weeks and months, or even on the stream. Let's say, for instance, maybe once every 2 weeks it will be purely an educational stream, and we will actually just do back testing. I don't know if you guys would enjoy that, but a stream where we literally go through the strategy, we back test it for an hour, 2 hours. It's going to be on YouTube. You guys can go back. We can look at the various sessions, see how we can potentially trade. And so yeah, unfortunately a little bit difficult for me to try and put 8 years worth of experience into a 15-minute conversation. So NZD CAD, let's quickly have a look. Somebody asked to look at NZD CAD. Let's quickly see what's happening with NZD CAD. And then we've got our alert set. Don't worry, we're not gonna miss our trade.
I just got activated into the trade, Chris.
Okay, may the volume be with you. NZD CAD, let's quickly have a look at NZD CAD. NZD CAD. I have honestly never traded NZD CAD, but let's quickly look at, and I'm going to answer some of the questions right now in the chat. So NZD CAD for me, I'm just going to do a quick top-down analysis on the weekly. On the weekly, we can see that we closed weak bearish last week. We've taken last week's low, and we are now starting to flip bearish, but we've also taken out last week's high. So very interesting for me. Technically, if we started the week, I would have been bearish due to the fact that we have yet to have a bullish weekly close. Going down on the daily time frame, I can already see that this area right here, this previous area of support, has now turned into resistance, and going back on yesterday's daily candle closure, engulfing Wednesday's candle, my next target would be these daily lows. And if this daily candle can close below these lows, then it's quite an easy sell going into next week, because then we can take out these lows. However, you do have the situation where this daily candle, for instance, can pull all the way back up to then break structure to the upside, because you've already tapped the potential support area. So I would say if you want to see some continuation lower, price would need to stay below this level right here, this 0.8020. Then on a 5-minute time frame, let's quickly look at where we are on a 5-minute time frame. I just want to remove all of this. So currently at Asia lows, and I do think if we keep projecting these lows right here, you will see that the session lows will be taken out right there. But if we do come back into this Asia range, do something like this, you can actually see us going higher. Okay. You can see us going higher. So I would say, I don't know if you're in a trade or you're looking to trade it. Personally, I would say monitor this area. It is looking bearish. If we cannot get back into the Asia range, then very high probability we will take out these session lows right here. That is the probability of that. Just want to get Keeks into the stream as well. I'm also interested in US City. What is the great strategy to enter trade in USDT? Because it always move in different direction from 8:30 to 2 after 15:30 it changes direction. That is the thing with London session and New York session. For the most part, currencies, if London trended bullish, very high probability, say from 12 o'clock up until NYSE open, you will see the pullback. And then once the New York traders come online, the probability of retesting the highs become very high. It is not always that London will push and New York will just reverse that entire move. If London creates a trend, very likely New York will continue with that trend. A trade I also took yesterday on UJ longs was quite late, and this was a trade that I took on USD JPY. So accumulation distribution was bullish the entire day. We were trading at the weekly pivot level, that WP level you're seeing there, and we had this nice little double bottom. We had this bullish engulfing, and on the close of that 5 minute I entered because we have not yet taken out the daily highs. That was the high created during London, and I had my target right there. My stops were 20 pips down here, and that was a relatively easy trade to the upside. My actual target would be the weekly R1, which is at 146.42, but I did not want to hold. I'm actually sitting quite nicely on the week, so I don't want to give back any gains. I sometimes see a setup but jump in too early. I guess I cannot see the signs ahead or confirmation signs that tell me to enter. So big thing with your entry model is, and I should find a way to share that with you guys. Let me see if I can find it here and you guys can take a screenshot of it. But these are my entry models that I use. I'm just quickly gonna look for it and I will post it up on the screen. Let me just quickly find it for you guys. Just again, quick disclaimer guys, these streams are not financial advice, they are purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult with your financial advisor before making any financial decisions. You will however lose money if you try and follow what we do on the stream. So just a disclaimer out of the way. And I actually found it, and I actually need to post this. Do you know what guys, I am going to post this on Instagram. I'll make a post on it. If you look in the bio, if you check in the bio or in the description of this video, go to Chris, follow me on Instagram, and after the stream I will post all of these entry criteria setups that I have, and I do think it will help you guys. Let me just try and save all of it. Follow me on Instagram guys, and I will share my my entry flash charts for you guys, and you can use it. And then I promise I will make work of it. Within the next 2 weeks you will have the course where I share all of my insights, and it will be available to all of you guys. So Keeks, how's it going, man?
No, good. Morning, guys. Sorry for the bit of a late appearance today. But yeah, on the market, how's things been looking for you today, Chris?
No, so I said in terms of the indices, we are obviously way too low. I'm gonna wait, most probably take some trades during NYSE this afternoon. I'm waiting for pullbacks to sell. A little bit hesitant to try and buy these pullbacks. It's not within my rule set. Only two setups I really see that are looking good is GJ. Potential sells from these highs right here, still looking good. And UJ looking for potential buys from the Asia lows if we get it. Heinz already in. Heinz took this order block entry there. But I still think we can, or not think, if we don't get it, it's fine. But for me, I want to grab it close to the Asia lows. Also this round number, 146. So only two real setups I'm seeing, and then GU as well. I mentioned I wouldn't necessarily look to sell these lows. If we get something closer to the Asia highs, I would consider a sell, also the round number. But I've got alerts set on GU and USD ZAR. I was potentially looking for buys off the Asia lows, still not out of contention. Actually gonna set an alert here. And let's see if we can get some type of setup on USD ZAR. Jevin,
just noting on the dollar, what was your buy for the dollar?
I'll show you now. I don't know if this music's too loud, guys, in the chat. Just let me know if the music level is fine. Dollar. So dollar, I am bullish on the day. But one thing I did want to note is if you look left, we actually gapped. I don't know if it's just due to the TVC terminal, but we've actually gapped, and just looking left is 103.35 level. So on the daily I mentioned, we have now broken out of this tiny little range. And I do think we see 104.35, so I'm bullish on the day. We can pull back, however. I don't like this gap sitting here. This is a real gap in the market, sitting right there. So very tricky. We're also trading up against the Asia highs, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So we're actually rejecting off Asia highs. Yeah, I would definitely love for this gap right here, guys. You see this gap we've got here on the terminal? I would love if price can first come and close that gap before taking buys. And that would indicate that GU would push up and gold as well. So
I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I don't like the fact that those two 5-minute candles didn't have a bottom wick.
actually no, bottom wicks indicate quite a lot of bullish pressure. Like I mentioned last time when you were in the office, the only thing you don't want to see is if it doesn't have a bottom wick. You don't necessarily want to see any 5-minute candle doing something like this now, for instance. If you get a 5-10, then that is not a good situation. But usually no bottom wicks indicate like continuous buying pressure, so I wouldn't be too concerned. I do even think you can get like a little pullback on the 5-minute, like maybe even up to that level right there. As long as
with a nice wick full now on that 5-minute candle as well.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be too concerned with the no bottom wick. My only concern is like, for instance, if you've got no bottom wick and all of a sudden, let's say you get 3 5-minute candles that are bullish, and now you get like 1 5-minute, like you're raising 15 minutes worth of price action, then that is a that is not a good sign for me. Good morning, Rika. Alright guys, so it would seem that we are gonna start NYSE streams, geeks. The people have spoken. They want
I was
us.
going to say that's 100% something I was actually going to talk about and excited for, because I think majority, I've actually was doing quite a bit of work and got my head into the markets a bit last night, and I think moving forward I will actually be getting back into a bit more of my currency pairs. Not as much, I have very limited pairs that I trade,
I
but
like
will
that.
be getting into them. And that will only be for basically London session. So London Open, I will do my currency pairs, and NY session is where I will target my baby and I will go with gold.
Yeah, it just makes sense because COMEX Open is 20 past 2 in the afternoon. That's the commodities exchange index, COMEX, in Chicago. So that is where the crux of the commodity trading is happening. So I would say 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about say 5 is when you really want to hit gold. That's when the volume drops in the market. And how about naming it the afternoon whistle? Rika, you've actually come up with some interesting names like Jay Rizzle bringing the sizzle. And that's actually sticking, so we're gonna get a stream deck. There's gonna be some sound effects for Javon. It will be the spur patty. I don't know if you've heard that sound of a spur patty eating the grill, that sizzle. So Jay Rizzle's gonna have a little bit of a sizzle, and if he shares a setup, we're gonna play that little sizzle. Javon, somebody's asking, are you in Alaska?
Yeah, I'm a winter baby, so I'm very cold-blooded.
MGI Capital, good day, man. How's it going? How's everyone's week been? Let me know how the trading week has been. Asia highs was around this level right here. We had a quick move up and then back into the Asia range. Potentially if we can get something like that. But again, my high probability sell area is at 130 at 34,290. The zone right here. That is where I'll be looking for sells. Either it happens during London or later this afternoon, but if you want to take risky buys, you would not want to see price coming back into the Asia range. But for me personally, everything is still pointing bearish. I will wait for a pullback and I will take the easy entries, the easy money. I'm not going to try and make it hard for myself. Gold still in this range. Remember I mentioned we can have some weird stuff happening inside of this range. We can have things like this happening where it's continuously just taking out highs and lows, trapping the breakout traders, so be very careful. JPL on at 5 past 4 this afternoon, so could get some volatility. And then Mo's going to start working on the New York stream thumbnail. And I think what we'll do is we'll have that stream running literally 15 minutes before the open, because it's just going to be a very quick analysis. The charts will already be ready and we will then execute live on that.
Chris, just out of interest, so you are obviously bearish on gold then?
No, the weird thing is I'm actually bullish on the day for gold. Because remember we talked...
So what is it that you're bullish for? Or why are you bullish?
So remember we talked about the risk off scenario. So we've had indices selling off like massively the last 2 days. So obviously gold is a risk hedge, same as JPY. So I do think we can have a scenario, I think it was on Wednesday or Tuesday we talked about it, where the dollar and gold can actually go up together due to the fact that both of them are safe haven assets. Even though a lot of guys can dispute it, the dollar is still the reserve currency of the world. And if there are risk events, guys will flee to dollar, flee to Swissy, the Swiss franc. They will flee to gold and JPY. So, and also looking on the daily, due to the fact that we closed bullish above this most recent area of resistance right there. So yesterday we were bullish, and again today I'm bullish because we have yet to get a bearish daily closure. I also mentioned we can pull back, that is not out of the question, but just on the day, looking at yesterday, I would still want to see gold push up, maybe even potentially test 1933. My only thing though is, according to my rules, gold is still bearish on the accumulation distribution, quite heavily bearish. And
okay, because that's my thing I was going to say is, because I think we basically agree then is, I am in the long term actually bullish now on gold. But I think the big thing what you mentioned there is I do also agree. I see if you want to see it as a pullback coming for gold. And there's quite a few key aspects in where we break. So obviously, I think we could go down as low as 1907 and even turn around from there and then go back up. But we could even go all the way back down to the weekly support of 1902, get support there, and then come all the way back up. I am long-term bullish, but I do see a bit of a bearish movement coming before that bullish momentum.
so basically my line in the sand for the session and for NYSE is basically this 197 level. And I think ultimately we either gonna reject here and basically come all the way back down, or we're gonna have a scenario where this literally becomes our platform to go up. So I literally wouldn't touch gold up until we get to the Asia highs and the daily pivot. I want to see what price is doing at this level.
Yeah, so I think what I agree with you there is, again, talking about how I kind of went and revised a few things already. With gold, I can even admit it's a mistake. I think as a trader, we need to admit to a bit of mistakes we've been doing. And I think lately I got a bit confident with gold in the sense that I was adamant on a bias. Now, in saying that, like we said, we do see a bearish momentum coming, but then also a bullish momentum. And in a way that kind of, as you say, it's not about predicting but reacting. So, for example, if situation A happens, I do B. If B happens, then I go to C. And if C happens, I then execute. So, literally, like you're saying, on these key levels, called the Asia lows, if we break those Asia lows and we get, like, for example, a nice even 30-minute candle closure below the Asia lows, I'll look to go a little bit short into support to there we will go long. But if we break above those Asia highs and we start closing above those Asia highs, there's our support, and then look to go long.
Rika, do I think BRICS is what's causing the dollar to go up? No, I think the dollar is going up due to the fact that inflation has been quite hot in the US. The market is expecting more rate hikes, or actually rates being high for longer. It's not necessarily about BRICS. So I do think the dollar going up will obviously affect emerging markets, especially African countries. But yeah, I do not necessarily think it affects the dollar as a whole. Fundu, what time frame do you use to draw that perfect zone? So I basically, for my Asia range, it's from 12 o'clock South African time up until 6 o'clock in the morning. So that range right there, I take the high and the low as my Asia range, and then I just basically pull it to the flat bodies, not the wicks. The flat bodies is what I consider to be the Asia range. Alright guys, USD JPY at the Asia lows. So again, as mentioned, if we can get some type of pullback below the Asia range, basically sweeping these Asia lows and then coming back to create some type of structure up against the Asia lows and then a break of structure, I would consider longs. Also, however, I'll also need my accumulation distribution to come in line because it's currently flipped bearish, trading below the 200. So once we spike those Asia lows and we start trading back into the Asia range, I would want to see this coming back and the moving average actually holding price. So something like that, if we can get that. I'm not bearish on this, not at all. I still want buys. So either some type of structure being formed here, even like some type of double bottom, I will long, or even just like one very nice bullish engulfing candle, then I would consider my long positions. Don't worry, I will share it with you all. I would not enter positions quietly and tell you after the traders run like 50 pips in profit. I share the trades on here, but again, it's not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Ultimately, it's still your own responsibility to manage your trade and how you take it. The onus remains on you as a trader to make your own decisions. I'm going to start locking it into USD JPY, getting my charts ready so that when I want to execute it is ready. Remember what I mentioned, what I want to see first happening. I really want to see it spike the Asia lows, like literally get below these wicks. And then I would like to see a very nice pullback back up. Okay, so let's see what we can get on UJ. Again, thank you for everyone joining. Please feel free to leave a like. If you missed the analysis, just go back to the start of the stream. We ran through all of the pairs as we do every morning, 8:30 till 11, and very soon we'll have the New York streams. And I was thinking, once we hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'm actually gonna do a little bit of a giveaway where one of our channel subscribers, I will fly you out for a day or two to come to the office to trade with us. So once we hit 1,000, I'll do that giveaway. Obviously need to be in South Africa. Looking at the analytics, most of our viewers are from South Africa, but I will get you to pay for you to fly down, come trade with us in the office for a day or two. You can meet some of the traders here in the office, Hein, Jevin, Keegan, and yeah, that will be for 1,000 subscribers. Asia zones, 12 o'clock South African time, so midnight till 6 o'clock, and then you take the highs and the lows during that period. That is your Asia zone. So once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we can do that, and once we hit 5,000 subscribers, I will give away 5 funded accounts as well. And at 10,000 subscribers, we'll give away 10 funded accounts. Aglumile, what we do at the office, we trade. We've got Jevon here, that is our in-house educator as well. So this office is literally all about trading. That is literally all we do. So moving averages, guys, it's just literally a mix of the 50, the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. I don't use it for entries. I purely use it as a guide as to what the market is doing in terms of trend. I know a lot of guys shit on moving averages, this and that. If your strategy is based on moving averages, bad news for you, you are going to get clapped. But if you know how to trade levels and you know how to just use it as a guide to show you that the market is moving up or down, perfect. But it is not an entry. Now that we're on the 200 here, I'm not all of a sudden going to buy here. I'm looking for certain price developments. I want to see some structure being formed here. I want to see breaks of structure, then I enter. But it's not a case of me entering here because there's a 200 moving average sitting there. Morning, Neil. Cubera, yes, we are in Port Elizabeth, guys. Some big things coming for PE. So the Cape Town boys, the Durban boys, and the Joburg boys better watch out for Port Elizabeth. Alright guys, I'm liking this on UJ. We've now taken those lows. If we can get a nice strong breakdown and then come back into the Asia range, we will then start looking for our longs. Retail will try and sell this. The only way I would not consider longs anymore, if we really break down, like continuously break down and it's starting to trend down, then your Asia lows become a resistance area. Then I would not necessarily consider longs. But if we can start holding Asia lows, I will execute on that. We prefer to be called Durban gentlemen. Yeah, I have to say Durban is like quite low key in terms of trading. I think most of the trade scammers are in Cape Town and Joburg, if I'm not mistaken.
Guys, so just a quick update. I'm looking at German 30. Maybe you can just open it quickly, Chris.
German 30, let's get German 30 on for you.
So on the 1 minute chart, price tapped into my zone, and we now have a change of character with the fair value gap over there. I placed a sell limit at 15,634 with a 20 pip stop at 15,654, and then my TP1 is the London lows, which is
Sorry Jevon, where's your sell limit?
at 15634.
634. Okay.
That's more or less the 50% of that.
And 20 pip stop, eh?
20 pip stop, that's correct. So TP1 would be at 15572. And
Okay,
then,
basically there.
yes, and then TP2 at 15513.
Okay, Javen Shaw giving us sell limit here. Do you trade currencies and gold only, or do you trade MGI Capital? I trade US indices, obviously during London session, during NYSE session. So we actually talked about doing a New York stream. We will only be trading US30 and Nasdaq. So we're gonna work on the thumbnails and the theme for that. And gold, sorry, we'll be doing 3. So Keeks will be doing the gold side of things, and myself will be doing mostly US30. I'll do the analysis on Nasdaq for you guys, but in terms of taking the trades live on the stream, I'll only be taking US30 live. Because I think most of the Vault Markets traders trade US30 and Nasdaq. It's actually a weird thing in South Africa where that is, I think it started 3-4 years ago, where that's most probably the most popular pairs to trade. Wazi, welcome. Yeah, we're gonna do the New York streams. I think it will do well, and a lot of people have asked for it, so why not give it to the people? And then also coming very soon is the actual course with the strategies that will be available to all of the Vault Markets clients that have funded accounts, and we are busy working on that. Again guys, these streams are completely free. I do it out of the love for the people. I'm a man of the people. All of us here are, so we're here to help you guys. We're not going to charge you anything. We only charge likes on the stream, so be sure to like and subscribe. Dude, it can be a potential session like yesterday where there's literally nothing happening up until later the afternoon. Alright guys, dollar is starting to make that move back up against the Asia highs. I don't know why I've got my Asia highs right here. So if we are going to continue bullish on the dollar, we would want to see something like this. What we do not want to see is price rejecting this area right here, because then we are going for that gap fill right here. So So there's a real open market gap. And I would love for GU to push back up into Asia highs. I want to sell from here. We've got our alerts set. And UJ are still like the buys. I just want to see how we develop here. UJ buys are still like, if we can get something like this. Let me just show you guys what I'm looking for in terms of price. The trade I took yesterday, I would love for something like this happening at the Asia lows. Exactly what you see here. If we can get that, I will be in. Or even if we get something like this, that nice bullish engulfing closing back inside the Asia range, I will be long. Respect, we really appreciate your insight, Chris Market Bull. Thanks, man.
Jeez, Chris, I just checked that USD JPY trade now. It took me out by less than half a pip and back at entry point.
We'll stops below these lows here.
Yeah.
I don't like when I see I don't trade smart money concepts or ICT or all of that, but just visually when I see something this clean, for me it is an area where price would want to go, and that's why I said I first want to see these Asia lows being taken, because we've obviously first taken Asia highs. So if Asia highs was still intact, then I think that entry would have been good right here on that order block. But considering that we've already spiked out the breakout traders that were a little bit early this morning, say from 8 o'clock, the breakout traders getting trapped right there. Now the next thing is going to be to trap the breakout traders to the downside here. And I still think we can do something like this. This would be the ideal to now the guys trying to buy again here. If we can get one more spike and then get that nice bullish engulfing candle, then I would say we A for away. But otherwise, still patiently waiting here for my setup. I'm not gonna.
Does that personally? Sorry, Chris. I was gonna say personally, this morning when I was looking at this USD JPY setup, everything looked pretty clean. The only thing that I wasn't sure about or was making me tempted not to take the trade was the fact that we're coming off a 4-hour supply zone that was mitigated about 2 or 3 times. So that was the only.
So this is the 4-hour supply, this area, yeah.
Yeah, around where the market's tapped in about once or twice, but even in the past. So that is one of the only things that did like kind of put me off. But it's just one of those, didn't follow one rule and you pay the price.
The thing is, for me, Mondays and Fridays are tricky due to the fact that Mondays will trade against your weekly flow. Mondays and like half day Tuesday and Friday, either London or NYSE is also going to trade against the weekly flow to create that top and bottom wick on the weekly. So that is why, even though I can be bullish, I'm always aware and thinking about the fact that we've been bullish the entire week. Somewhere along the line we are going to pull back to create a weekly top wick. So but let's see here. Javen is about to enter his German 30 sells. I don't trade DAX. Javen the volume be with you, brother. I hope we don't need to send out a prayer link here. If we see Javen starting to face some drawdown, I just want everybody in the chat to give us a hashtag pray for Javen so that the volume can get in his favor. Yesterday, guys had to pray for me because I took a stop on GU. So, had the direction right, was a little bit early. We were selling at these levels right here. I was looking for re-entries, never got my entry model, and price literally collapsed from there. But I know some of the guys actually took the sales from this level right here. Laz sent me, Richard sent me some pictures as well. So analysis was perfect, entry was a little bit early, but all according to plan. Still up for the week. No, I'm kidding, guys. Losses are part of the game. If you can't handle losses, don't trade. It is all part of the game. But also do not be fearful when you trade. For me personally, when I enter, there's no fear or this or that. I'm emotionless. I take the trade. I follow my plan. Win or lose, if I follow my plan, I know at the end of the day I will be successful. Safo Lito, just saw this on my email. Damn, I'm so glad to have you here. Guys, just let me know in the chat if the volume is fine. It's quite difficult for me to gauge the volume on this side of the stream. Just let me know if it's fine.
Chris, I've got some buy limits in on USD CAD as well. You know what's quite funny? Most of the members on my mentorship are still in the USD JPY trade. Their spreads are obviously worse than mine, so they're in some good profit.
USD CAD buy limits. Let's quickly look at.
It's on the 15-minute for me. Then I've got it at 135698. I'm about to send a signal to the group.
13568. It's all the way down here. 13568. Okay, around about this level right here.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on with my price chart or your price chart, but that big red candle and green candle that made no bottom wick, I don't have that in my chart.
We're gonna check on my broker terminal because technically this is then already mitigated.
Yeah. On mine it's not though. So I just want to check. I'm on
I'm on FXCM. Let me actually get the broker chart on here. Let's quickly get the broker chart on your 15-minute, and let's see. I do have no, I don't have that. Let me see. 13568. Yeah, that's weird. So FXCM has got a very weird price feed. Let me actually change it. Remember, guys, we're canceling FXCM. Kidding, we're not cancelling FXCM, but their charts, I don't know what's happening with FXCM. I was gonna get a Wanda on here. Alright, yeah. Oanda is... Alright. Jeevan is in his cells, guys. Good luck. Enjoy the cells on DAX. I will be rooting for you guys. So, for the SMC guys, potential order block here to come and retest those highs. 5 minutes still a bit away. We'll set some alerts here. Still bullish for me, USD CAD, just looking at the Asia lows. However, if I want to see bullish continuation, these Asia lows would need to hold, but also that order block's very close to the daily pivot. So I think this is a very good area to potentially get long USD CAD. So I'm going to set some alerts here for us and we can monitor it 13568. And this will be the area to monitor. USD JPY, that bounce. 80 is still below, guys, so no buys for me. I was looking for buys. This thing can run literally 50 pips. I don't care. My trading plan is simple. I follow it. My rules are simple. If I don't follow my rules, why have rules in the first place? So not taking this. I would need for the accumulation distribution to get back above. Let's see what the DXY is doing. DXY breaking structure to the upside, retesting Asia highs. We would need to hold this area for bullish continuation on the dollar. And then GU still, I'm going to wait, even if I have to wait till 12 o'clock. I want to wait for this area to be tested before I execute. And then GJ as well, very rangy session, guys. Due to the fact that we've got Jackson Hole, let's see. Mud saying, I'm learning, much appreciated. I lack patience and I see it's all about patience. Correct. That is the entire thing about trading, is waiting for your setup to play out. If you are just going to machine gun it, even if you're trading a small account, guys, so this is something that I should maybe mention now, is the fact that if you can't trade or be disciplined with a small account, how are you going to be disciplined with a big account? And I know it's more difficult to be disciplined with a smaller account, but ultimately, if I cannot be disciplined with 5,000 Rand or 10,000 Rand, how am I going to be disciplined with, say, 5 million Rand? And that's the unfortunate fact about it. Waiting for the best setups and taking that, because ultimately trading is like hunting. You wait for your shot, and when that window of opportunity opens up, you shouldn't hesitate. You should take your shot in the market and execute.
Because I think we were talking about it yesterday as well. I mean, a lot of the people have like a strategy, but then when it meets their strategy, they still feel like, you know, maybe it's not going to work out. I think a big part of trading is having a set rule-based strategy and taking it no matter what. I mean, when I say no matter what, I mean no matter what emotions you're feeling towards it. Obviously, when things like news and stuff comes into play, that's something else. But I mean, having a mechanical strategy that you take no matter what, if it lines up correctly.
Exactly, and the thing is, a lot of times we overthink it. Like, for instance, I know I wanted to buy from these Asia lows, but I wanted to see certain criteria being met. And I don't even think twice when my criteria is met and that 5 minute closes, I execute. I don't think about what if this or that, or what if Putin says this, or Ramaphosa says something at BRICS, this or that. Like, ultimately, I'm just following what price is doing, and if my criteria is met, I execute. And that is actually something that I struggled with quite a bit, was overthinking. And that is where I had to really dial down and say, okay, look, this is my trading plan, this is my entry criteria, and no matter what, if my entry criteria is met and all the boxes are ticked, I execute. Because in the past, what would happen is you get into this type of death loop where you take losses, and I think a lot of the guys in the chat can basically attest to this. So let's say you risk a small amount of money. You go into like 4 winning trades, and now on the 5th trade you over leverage, or you put on a big size and you literally wipe out all of those smaller gains. Then you're like, okay, wait, I'm gonna first see some trades play out, and you paper trade it and be like, okay, I want to buy here. And on TradingView, you're like, okay, this is my buy limit, that is my stop, and you just see price play out like 3 or 4 times, and you're like, okay, flip, my strategy is working again. Then once you place a live trade, and I laugh because I've been there. Then once you place a live trade, that live trade you lose. And then you go into that death loop again, and it's literally a death loop. You never get out of it up until you say, okay, listen here, I'm stopping, I'm putting X amount of capital in my trading account, I'm risking X amount of percent. This is my strategy, this is my entry criteria, and win or lose, I'll be trading this for a month, 2 months, and following your plan, not overthinking it, because that death loop is real, and I think a lot of guys can attest to that.
I agree with you there, Chris. I saw a chart the other day with an X and a Y axis, and it was a line chart, stating your performance and your strategy's performance, and your strategy's performance was like up, all the way up, and then your strategy and then your performance was like down here. And what it meant was what your strategy is capable of and how you're executing it. And I think that just comes back to your emotions and stuff, because your strategy is actually, proper, and it does win, and over a long period of time you will be profitable, but you're not.
Weirdly enough, also that you mentioned that you've got a situation where, let's say for instance, and guys should make notes of this in the chat. For instance, your strategy could be profitable, but due to the fact that you're constantly changing your lot sizes, that's what's making you not profitable. So if I can give you one tip, if you're gonna go with one lot, stick to that one lot, because a lot of times your strategy is profitable. You let's say you're netting 100 pips a month, but in terms of your P&L, your profit and loss, you're showing a loss, because you would take a 0.25 lot trade here, tomorrow you're taking a 0.75, then you're taking a 0.1. So just even the consistency in your lot sizes is also something that guys negate to look at. And that is something me personally, I would do, and I'll be like, I'll trade my normal, say 5 lot or whatever it is. And then after a loss, I'll be like, okay, now I'm going to trade 2.5 lots. Then that is a winner, but it's not the same lot size as the loser. Up until the stage where I look back and I'm like, technically I'm netting X amount of pips a month, but I'm still down on my P&L. And then it's the thing, if I traded 5 lots throughout the month, I would have been up, say, $5,000, but now I'm literally break even or negative. Gemini, did you quickly go and pray for the market, or?
But I think, Chris, we say this, but I mean, it's not always an easy mindset to adapt. Because I can tell you, I never had that mindset, even though I knew I should have it, or I should have had it. You never actually adapt that mindset until you have some experience in the market.
But yeah, dude, trading is ruthless. And I think if you've been long enough in the game, you've reached the highs and you've literally reached the lows as well. Like full on depression, literally questioning yourself, questioning your ability. Like, dude, trading has taken me to dark places in the past, and I can honestly say, like, I've worked a 9 to 5, I've been in corporate, I studied for almost 8-9 years, and the hardest thing is trading. Like, that is also one thing where I got my ass handed to me, thinking, oh, you've got 3 or 4 degrees and you think you're smart. And then there's the other guy that only has like a matric. He's killing the markets. It's not about your IQ necessarily. It is about that thing of discipline and the psychology. You can have a doctor's degree and suck at trading. I don't care what they say. You can have all of the book knowledge. But trading is most probably the hardest thing that you will ever do. Because there's technically no right or wrong. There's like guidelines, but ultimately the market will decide whether you're right or wrong. Alright guys, as mentioned, we're failing to hold Asia highs. We're going to give it like 15 more minutes. This is DXY. We've spiked the session highs, the pre-market session highs, and again, as mentioned, that open gap, that is going to be like a magnet for the DXY to come back and fill that. That would ultimately mean GBP USD also starting to flip bullish. So once we reach these Asia highs, I will then consider buys, seeing where we are on DXY. So if DXY fails at the Asia highs and we can't stay above the Asia highs, I'm going to start looking for some buying opportunities on GU. And all I want to see is price clearing this quite aggressively above the Asia highs, and then this round number at 12600, this institutional level right here. If we can hold that level, tap back into Asia highs, and then closing back above right there, then I will consider buys up until 12640, the daily pivot level, and then I'll see what happens there. But currently no trade for me. Prices yet to really move, still in a range. Gold still in a range. Again, as mentioned, we can get that scenario where price can literally spike a short-term high, come back down, spike a short-term low, go all the way back to spike that high again. So I honestly, my personal advice, unless we get clear movement, I would stay out of gold during New York, during London. It's not something that I would even touch unless there's like real clean movement, but this, you can't do anything on that.
Chris, I just saw now on Euro USD, if you can just quickly pop over there on the 15-minute.
This order block,
yeah, so not necessarily looking for anything now, but we have been quite bearish the last 2 days, and then we just trailed into a 4-hour demand zone. Why I want to look for some reversals of this demand zone is because we do kind of have to start making a pullback because we did break structure on a higher time frame. So what I'm going to do is just wait for the break of that high on the 15-minute, and then start looking for some buys.
Yeah, I like that. As I mentioned, Fridays, and look how far we are away from the 15-minute pivot. So for the guys that trade market maker reversals, or I don't know actually what they call it, but this is like you've got some type of range, you get a spike of a low, and then you get a reversal back up. So faking out the sellers, breaking structure to the upside, and then you wait for price to trade back into some type of demand level. Yeah, I'm quite a firm believer in Fridays providing you with the pullback on the weekly time frame. And what I mean about that is, if you consider a weekly candle, let's say this is a weekly candle, and let's just say for instance this is a bearish weekly candle. If you go back and you go and look, you'll see that weekly candles have top and bottom wicks. And what happens is, for especially like Euro USD, technically price is like on the low of the week, like something like this. If I go to the weekly, there'll be like a very tiny bottom wick. So somewhere today it's going to pull back to create some type of bottom wick, something like that, so that it leaves range for next week. And that is what I mean. Like Monday, if you think about how a candle forms in terms of a line chart, price opens up, creates a high, creates a low, and then pulls back. This usually happens Monday, Tuesday, and this usually happens Friday. This happens in the middle of the week, the crux of the move.
Yeah, so Chris, if we can actually, make that nice gap now in this candle, and in the next 2 or 3 candles break that high, then we have obviously a 15-minute order block forming there that I'll probably take some entries off of.
Friend is saying that's true, man. The lot size really gives us greed for no reason, especially when the market gives you that spike before taking the predicted direction and you end losing because of the lot size. So here's my thing, and I think a lot of guys will not like what I'm saying, and that is also fine. I've been long enough in the game to actually give advice. It's not something that I read in a book, it's something that I went through personally. But if you give yourself, say, 3 to 5 years, and you've got the ability to scale and compound your account, that is how you will be successful. You're not going to be successful with one trade. One trade is not going to change your financial situation. What is going to change your financial situation is a lot of small winning trades and compounding that over 2, 3, 4, 5 years. How I started, I was working a 9 to 5. I started trading on the side, and initially it was just good. Like, I still remember the first time I made 300 Rand. I was like, how is this possible that I just made 300 Rand? Like on a computer screen, and yeah, I'm working 9 to 5. For me, it was like, I couldn't really comprehend it. I literally withdrew that 300 Rand. I think me and my wife were still like newly married at that stage. I think we got like some takeaways or whatever, and then as the profits grew, then you started like funding your hobbies, like if you're into cycling or whatever it is. And then slowly but surely it built up to the stage where I was like, okay, maybe this can supplement my income on a monthly basis and actually replace my 9 to 5. But it was never a case of after 1 month changing my entire financial situation. It literally took me almost a year, 2 years to slowly build towards that. Alright guys, DXY potentially dying from these Asia highs. I think once we get a retest another retest here and we start breaking like some type of structure, let's say we create a support there, we retest and we break that support, I do think we'll trade lower to go and fill that gap before we've got JPL on this afternoon. That will obviously give all of the counterparts a pop up, like GBP USD. Accumulation distribution starting to flip to the buy side, so I would still monitor Asia highs if we do start flipping bearish again. Other than that, as mentioned, if we can break and start holding this level, I would consider longs into the daily pivot and for that pullback play. So just monitoring that. Just gonna run to the toilet quickly. Be sure to like, follow us on Instagram, Monday to Friday 8:30 till 11, and New York streams coming soon. See you guys right now.
Okay, guys. So German 30 popped me. I hit a stop loss. Think I'm gonna end my session here. No other great setups I'm seeing. Gold, Euro USD, not at my zones. So yeah, we'll see.
Keegs, I think a lot of people would want to know. So, you know, you recently went full time a few months back. Well, how do you find it different to when you were trading with a 9 to 5? Because I think you know, not everyone does this for the aim to go full time. So, even Jevin, you can add something here. What do you guys feel, or how do you find it different? Being full-time, knowing that you're trading for your bread and butter, than having a 9 to 5 and having some extra security?
I think so. Obviously, the biggest thing is, I mean, we've always said it so many times. Like, the big thing is if you want to say stress. You end of the day, like, if you aren't performing, like, you financially you're not making money that month. So that's the reality of this. And I think that's what a lot of traders need to understand. That's why we journal and need to have that track record. And again, like you get that misconception of the big traders on social media. They're buying Ferraris, they're buying this. Like you just seen the lifestyle the whole time. And I feel that only comes a bit late in life where, for example, like now, when you make money or you get a payout, you can't just go spend that whole payout. You need to financially plan yourself out, because the thing is, you can have a month where you could, for example, be up, let's just even say 10%. The next 2 months, you might be a break even. You might even be at a loss, and you won't get money. So you really need to work well with your money in that sense. But I think you also need to be realistic. I think we all love it. And we all want to do this like full time. We see that freedom. But I must say, I think the difference was when I personally went full time was, surprisingly enough, where it was that freedom I was chasing. I actually think I started putting in even more screen time into my trading. And I think that's what kept me, if you want to say relevant, it kept me in the game. Because I do feel anything in life, when you are doing well, that's not when you should be taking a break. That's when you should benefit, put the time in. So I think, like Chris even said, you build up, and it's not something that happens overnight. Just obviously not going into details, but for example, like when I went full time, in the space of 2 months, I had basically made more than my yearly salary. So that was all money I could have as capital to basically get me through those things. And again, as we have mentioned before, was again that journey, that track record. So you can't, even for example, let's just say you got lucky and you hit some massive trade, then afterwards moving forward, you can't do that. But having that track record where you can look back and go, you know what, I actually am a profitable trader. I've had this consistency over a certain amount of period of time. I now do believe I could do this as a job. Not that it was a phase in your life, if that makes sense.
I think it's quite important as well. So, you know, we do talk a lot about the risks, and I think people think we try like talk bad about trading or talk them out of trying to go full time. At the end of the day, if we really think about it, I mean, personally, you know, the amount of freedom that trading's been given me when I went full time 2 years ago, you know, the amount of time that I've been able to spend on personal goals when it comes to being full time, and I mean, everyone on the Zoom, you know, can agree the amount of freedom that trading gives you is amazing. So, you know, striving to do this full time, it is possible. You know, it's not an impossible task. But the only thing why I feel we do talk a lot about the risks and why it's so difficult is because we don't want people to make these types of mistakes. Because we kind of see them every day, you know, people going full time and then they kind of, you know, fall out the back, and then, you know, they're kind of in a hole. But I think it's so important to kind of just manifest that goal even when it's not going well, because it is possible, and the freedom it gives you is amazing.
Yeah, I think, sorry, bro, just to add like what you're saying there is, like, for example, that freedom, and when we talk about the risks, and how with trading you can quickly find yourself in a hole if you don't manage it properly. And like again, we say with that money, for example, let's just say you get 1 or 2 or even 3 big payouts. Now the first thing, especially us guys, what do we want to do? We want to go buy toys. Now let's just say you go buy that dream car. Okay, cool, I'm making this every month, I can pay the installments. Now what happens? You blow your account. The account's gone, that income is gone, and now you're stuck with a car you can't afford, you can't pay, and very, very quickly you find yourself in a hole.
If I can add on that, I feel like people should learn from my experience. So when I actually the last time I worked a job for someone was in 2018, and I only turned 25 the other day. So that was what, 6 years ago. And my thing was, I got cocky. I think like that's a mistake most of us make. We get egotistical. So when I made my monthly salary three times in a row each month while working my job, I actually quit my job because I figured, why do this? Why work for someone else if I can do this from my phone? But then because I thought I got it, I actually then dug myself into a big hole because I lost the money and I was broke. I didn't have a job. There was no income. And also, like, I believe that if you want to do something like that, you're always going to need, I wouldn't want to call it also a mentor, but you're going to need some sort of guidance as well. Someone who can always give you advice in times of need, because like, I feel like for traders as well, it's a very lonely journey. And the only way someone can actually also help you is actually learning from someone who hasn't made it.
Yo, you guys are getting deep here, but it is the truth. I think that the psychological aspect of it is quite tough, and I think if you've got a support structure in terms of somebody that's gone through it, and we've had multiple traders here in the office, and myself and I, and we've actually talked about this, like actually where you get to the point of having anxiety, like you're full time, it's going well, you've got money saved up, but then all of a sudden you run into bad months and you're starting to churn into like your savings and your cash flow, and you're not getting new money in. And then it's like, fine, okay, you sorted for a year or whatever, but now the thing is, like, mentally it starts working on you where you're technically going back in life. You're not making more money every month, you're not able to save money every month, you're literally losing money, and you're literally going back. And if you get into that psychological trap of being like, shit, I don't know if I can get out of this, and you start doubting yourself, that is a very bad place to be. And that is why I would always say, before going full-time, you can do this part-time. You don't necessarily need, there's a lot of very successful traders that have their own businesses, that still have a 9 to 5. They basically just flip up their strategy to trade higher time frames, swing trading, look at the charts maybe every 4 hours when a 4-hour candle closes, uses sell limits or buy limits. But the full-time journey, dude, it is different. Achlumile asking, sorry, Mfundu asking, what's your biggest win? I don't know if he's asking me, or I don't necessarily have a biggest win, but my biggest month, I'm not a funded trader. I've been self-funded my entire life since I started trading. I honestly don't have like a backstory of I was poor and I had to do this or that. We were never wealthy, but I studied civil and structural engineering. I had a very good 9 to 5. I was also doing private work after hours, so I had money when I came into trading. And my biggest month, I think, was like $54,000 or $50,000 in trading profits, not selling a course or a signal or this or that. Actually trading, money made from trading.
I mean, Chris, you do say that quite, moderately, but at the end of the day, besides the fact that you have been in the game for almost a decade, that amount, making that in a month, I mean, I think that's what people strive to make in a year, even when it comes to trading. So at the end of the day, it's a testimonial to show that, it's possible.
No, it's definitely, you know what the weird thing is, if you get tunnel vision, and I've had my best months where I don't focus on the P&L. All I focus on is literally just my setup, following my plan, in terms of taking, say, for me personally, like a 1-to-1, take 90% off, and then literally just churning it, and then at the end of the week going back on the P&L, and you would feel like, oh, it wasn't really a great week. And then you check, flip, I made 80k or 75k for the week. And it's like, flip, it was actually a decent week, because all those little like 5k wins, 8k wins all add up. And that specific month, when I did so well, was purely taking, like, there was quite a bit of trades, quite a bit of volume in the market. And only once I looked back and I was like, flip, this was actually like a monster month. But it wasn't a thing of me saying, oh, I want to make this amount of money. It was literally just, okay, can I stick to my plan, stick to my routine, and literally just follow what I should be doing, and then the profits will take care of itself. But there's no real goal. I think guys also put pressure on themselves, saying like, oh, I need to make 10k this week, or I need to make 50k this week. Like, forget the P&L. Like, tell yourself, I need to follow my plan, I need to be disciplined, I need to stick to what I'm doing, and ultimately the results will come. It's there's no way that the results will not come.
Yeah, sorry, Chris, to add just what you said, I think that's very, very important. Is that was something like I even used to personally do, was you have, like, for example, one great week, and now you create that thing of, okay, so I'm going to set that as a standard of what I need to do every week. And I think that's where you start forcing things. And there was someone, funny enough, because he's going to milk it as we were talking about yesterday, but it was actually a very important thing Donvo said. And he says, you can't have goals in trading, if that makes sense. So, and people always ask him, how can you not have goals? And he says, because I don't know what the market's going to give me. So he says, I can't say I want to make $30,000 this week because I did that last week. He said I might have caught something amazing and that there were certain circumstances. But he says this week there might be no movement on the market and I might only make $3,000. And that's okay. It's still I made profits. But I can't chase a certain target every week, because he also believes that is purely when you're going to start forcing things.
That's a very good way to think of it, huh?
No, 100%. But that's the unfortunate thing. We are goal driven. Anybody that's trying to better their life or change their financial situation, it is good to have goals. But in terms of trading, your goals should be different. Your goals should be to pitch up every day, to follow your your daily routine. Go through the motions every day, rocking up. There's been days where we've been sitting here. There's literally not one setup. And the thing, we all love trading. We all love that rush, that dopamine hit we get from trading. Like, even I've been trading for 8 years. I still need to contain myself to not just get into positions. I still need to fight off the FOMO. For instance, this USD JPY. Like, I know I wanted to buy here, but my entry criteria was not met. And I know, for instance, there have been instances where my criteria was not met 100% and price did something like this. And I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. But I've considered the task of saying, look, if I'm going to set rules, then I need to follow them. Otherwise, it's not really a rule. Then every day I'm going to chop and change. So that is the hardest thing in trading, is rocking up every single day with that, knowing that potentially I'm not going to make money today. There might not be one single trade. I might not be able to press the buy or the sell button. And if you can control that urge, then I think you're almost halfway there in terms of profitability. Because let's be honest, Keeks, Hein, Jevon, it is like gambling, trading. That sensation of you putting risk onto the market. There's that potential of a payout. You're either going to be wrong or you're going to be right. And I still love it. I've been doing it for so long, and it's still that rush that you get because you're literally placing a bet on your analysis. That is all trading really is. If you're expecting price to go from year to year, you need to put money on the table and say, look, I'm taking a position here. My stop, I'm willing to risk this much. And this is where the ego thing comes in. Like, now you get stopped out, and now it's like, oh, the market did this, the broker did this.
I just want to say something quickly. Sorry, Chris. So it is a bit high risk, but I took a re-entry on German 30, based on that fair value gap in the 1 minute. Stop loss entry is 15,650, and a stop loss is 22 pips at 15,672. So I think the entry was just a little bit early, but yeah.
On
a 1 minute.
Fair value gap are you taking it on?
There's no fair value gap, yeah.
On the 1 minute chart.
Oh, you're going long?
No, I'm going short in the 1 minute.
I don't see a fair value gap, yeah.
Which broker are you using? I'm using 8 cap. Always use 8 cap.
I'm using 8 cap. There's no fair value gap.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because
There's one over there, Chris, on the first pullback.
Are you guys sure you guys don't see a fair value gap? I see a fair value gap.
So look, I don't trade your technique. I've studied it, but for me, technically, this is a swing low. That is a swing high. So this swing low right here didn't take out that swing high. And this here, you can't really consider to be a swing low, because also this swing low here didn't break the highs there. So technically, if you go on a line chart, let me just show you. So if you look at this on a line chart, you'll see where was your last swing low that took out a high. It's this one here. This one did not take out a swing high. So I'm not saying, like, I don't want to talk you out of your position, but for me personally, there's no break of structure or change of character.
It's completely up to each individual. Like I said, it is a risky position, but I do believe that it's going to go down. Because my bias is long on it. I want to buy it. Actually want to buy from 15,500. So I believe price could go there by end of the day to trap people going short.
So you took a short. So you're saying this is a fair value gap, that there?
Oh no, a little bit more to your left.
Are you saying that was the fair value gap? There?
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
And you're saying the change of character is with...
So if you're gonna have to go on a smaller time frame.
This is the 1 minute. This is the 1 minute.
Yeah, change of character on the seconds.
Oh, on this. Okay, no.
When these people start trading on seconds, I'm like, yes.
I don't have that trading view account.
Okay, guys, I think it's official. Just get a hashtag pray for Javen here in the chat. Let me just sign into the chat here so I can chat. Let's just start a chain link here. Javen, I wish you all the best of luck. 16,650, eh? Sorry, Javen, you muted. Just give us those levels again. 16.
Sorry. So the entry is at 15,650.
All right, guys. Javen, 15.
So if this candle closes bearish now, we should see a run.
All right, okay. And your stop is 20 pips. Let's see. Guys, just a disclaimer. I don't know what Jeevan is doing. I think this is FOMO, but Jeevan, I can't deny the fact that you can trade. Let me just say that Jeevan can trade, but on this trade, I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate. But let's see. Let me just put a name tag to this. Jeevan Shaw right here. JS. Guys, do you think it's better to learn and master one pair before moving to another, or adopting a basket of instruments and just trading which one ever gives you a better setup? Rico, 100% one pair. To be honest, sorry, I'm laughing. I'm seeing the hashtag pray for Javen. I would say one pair is really gonna set you up for success. And me personally, I started like analyzing 60 pairs, brought it back down to 2, added. So what you see here on my screen, this is the only things I ever look at. I don't look at anything else. And at the end of the year, I actually want to get to the stage where I'm only trading US30. That is literally the goal for me. I'm just basically gathering a lot of data to see which pairs. For me, it's personally about if I'm not consistently profitable, let's say for instance on GBP USD over a 6-month period, like why try another 6 months? Like it makes absolutely zero sense. So one pair is definitely gonna help you. I'm still learning trading. I think this show is important. I hope I will be able to join every time. Tabelo, you will. These streams are from Monday to Friday. They are completely free. All we ask is that you like the stream. Just give us a thumbs up there in the like and subscribe, as that will support the channel. Also, as mentioned, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. I will be flying out one of the subscribers on the channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram as well. And you will join us here for a day on the trading floor. And maybe we'll give you some secret sauce as well. Some of these market makers.
Guys, you can see, and this isn't even a joke, I've sort of showed Chris today, but we literally have got the playbook here. This has got every single one of my moves, confluencies, strategies, everything.
The secret
put
sauce.
it in like a golden case.
I read you sold that book at Bargain Books for like $1,000.
Yes, it's you cheap, eh?
2,000?
Jeevan, I see that man is stressing their kicks. Just Jeevan, no pressure, yeah, no pressure.
It's getting a bit hot here in the trading room. I can like all that steam coming off of him.
Jay Rizzle, oh Jay Rizzle. Let's see. Let's just keep those chats going. Hashtag pray for Jeevan. Pick me. I'll even bring my own cap. Lol. I agree. It's going down. Mogelo, he saw chalk in seconds time frame. Yes, the oaks when they go to seconds. Just gave you my like because this is a very informative. Thanks MJI. Thanks guys. I think let's just get that chain going. Pray for Jevon in the chat. If we can just start that prayer chain now. Pray for Jevon for this DAX position to go down. And then I also think for the new guys, features, if you want to bring volume in the market. I've got a few market makers watching this stream, and how we signal for volume is we just spam some features in the chat and you will literally see the volume coming through.
I will just say, like, I will have mad respect if that trade plays out. Again, not that I'm doubting Day Rizzle there, but the fact that you analyzed it down to the seconds and that thing plays out is insane.
Dude, now look, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest with everyone in the stream. Once I got Jevon into the office, and the first time he showed me how he trades, and I thought like, yes, dude, this oak is a scammer, bro. Like, why did I get him in the office? And then I saw he can actually trade. Like, don't be fooled by the looks of Jay Rizzle bringing the sizzle there. The man can trade. Keegan has actually dubbed him as is it the silent assassin, Keeks?
Yeah, the silent assassin. You'll be sitting here, this man, you just quite hear the ch. And 10 minutes later, this man's flipping 1,000 pips in a move.
What Chris didn't know was that I was the real scammer.
I was Arn, so Arn was actually the scammer, but Jay Rizzle, German 30, my goodness, guys, how can you doubt the man? Jay Rizzle. Jevon, as I always mention, just stay humble, dude. Knees on the ground, eyes to the sky, keep your eyes on the prize. Just remain humble, stick to the process. The fastest analyzer, seconds. Now I'm done, guys. I'm gonna have to get the seconds chart. Next level. Jay Rizzle strikes again. My goodness, 14 points. Alright guys, DXY, as mentioned, we spiked Asia highs, Asia lows for me now, a magnet. Also this gap fill to the left. Also, as I mentioned, GBP USD most likely going to come all the way up to Asia highs. I'm not going to take sales there anymore unless we do something dramatic on the accumulation distribution. I would potentially look for longs quite late in the session, but I'll see what we do here. If we can do something like that, break of structure, I will take some longs to the upside. GJ also now starting to push up. I still want shorts of this level right here. I've already set our alerts at the Asia highs, so if we do get it, I will be considering short positions. And USD JPY, nothing for me here. I wanted the longs, however my accumulation distribution, as you can see right here, trading below the 200 EMA, so nothing there for me. US 30, all right, high risk sell in terms of the failure to hold Asia highs. As you can see here, potential double top. I am going to wait. If you want to take some positions off these Asia highs, wait for some rejections here at the Asia high. That level right there, for me personally, the juice is not worth the squeeze here. I'm going to wait to see if we come all the way back there during NYSE. Otherwise, I am not too keen on selling so low into the session. I really want price to pull up into a premium. Nasdaq taken Asia lows, taken Asia highs, to do think we can even do something like this on Nasdaq up until Powell later this afternoon, just sticking in this Asia range, just confusing traders. So nothing on the indices. I've got my higher levels that I'm looking at, and J Rizzle in DAX, I think we've got enough beaches there. Chef Rolly Shadari asking me to go back to DXY. I will. Yes, DXY. I don't know if you had a specific question here on DXY, just let me know. How about EU? I'll have a look at EU now. Pray for Jevan. Jeev getting quite a bit of support here in the chat. While we wait for Chef to ask a question on DXY, I just want to jump quickly to somebody asked about EU. Let's just go to Euro USD quickly on the 5 minute. Alright, so we've spiked Asia lows. We're starting to flip bullish, not yet fully bullish, but I think once we can get something like that, I think we can start looking for some potential buys if you're trading EU. I would however say my anchor point for the session would be these Asia lows. If you want to buy, this would be the area I would say that's going to give you the higher probability of buying. And this was that structure level that Hein was referring to. So once we get a break of structure above there, and we then come back to Asia lows, then you want to see Asia lows hold. You want to see something like this, and then a break, and then you can consider buys. We are quite deep into a discount level, and we are quite far away from the daily pivot. The daily pivot's at 1,830. So can we get a push back up to 1,830 later in the session? That is still to be seen. You will need to stay tuned and find out in the next episode. But German 30, J Sizzle, cool as a cucumber there, not phased. So Javon, on the 1 minute, I would now classify this as a break of structure, and now I would consider potentially either this order block there, or I don't see a fair value gap in the 1 minute, but this I would say now is valid. But anyway,
sorry, Chris, just on that quickly, just some personal views as well. So you would consider that like a change of character? Is that correct?
I would.
For the break.
For me personally, let me just see where we are with the Asia range. So I don't really trade the change of character and break of structure stuff, but for me this is the Asia high and this is the Asia low. Let me just make sure. No, that's actually not your Asia high and low. For some reason the time zone is messed up. Let me just quickly mark out and I will tell you how I would have assessed this. Okay, so we've got our Asia low right here. So this is our Asia range. That is our Asia high, that is our Asia low. So for me personally, 9 o'clock this morning, as you can see on the, okay, this is the 1 minute. Let me just jump to the 5 minute to not confuse anybody. So on the accumulation distribution, it is still bearish. In terms of the daily pivots, I would want to sell it off this daily pivot at 15,675. So if I get exactly what you see here, let's say for instance this entire structure, let me just take out the background there for us. If you take that entire structure that you're seeing here and you pull it up to where the daily pivot is, then I would consider this a break of structure, and I would actually have sold on this candle close right there, that candle closing there with no bottom wick. But it can work, like I said, Jeevan's got quite a few strategies mixed up into one, but for me personally, I would want to sell off the pivot and then the Asia highs or lows. That is my reference point for the day. Anything in between, I just stay out. I just see what Jeevan does. And don't get me wrong, guys, Jeevan has caught some silly trades that I didn't take because it's not my style of trading, but it's beautiful to see when the guys win. They just came in on the tail end of the stream, but what's the take on US30 before the episode ends? So US30, I mentioned I want to look for potential selling opportunities at 34.288 later this afternoon. I also mentioned that we can pull back. It is Friday, so even though we're bearish on the day, we could pull all the way back, like even to yesterday's pivot. So not uncommon, but I am bearish on the day. I'm not going to try and sell low here. Also no buying indication for me as of yet. So I've got alerts. I'm actually set an alert at 34.286, and once we get at that level, I will assess where we are on the day. Keeks, there's a question in the chat. Is there much of a difference between trading gold and silver?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no clue. I trade gold. I have never actually traded silver before, so I'm not even going to lie. I really can't tell you.
Rika, I can also not tell you because I'm going to tell you about 5 years ago when I traded silver for the first time. I thought it's the same contract size as gold, and I literally took some big hits on silver. The contract sizes are different for silver than gold. I think it's like 1,000. Let me just check. What is the symbol on silver? It's ZAG, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, so it's 5,000, the contract size, where gold is 100, and I thought it's the same as gold. Dude, I literally almost blew. Wouldn't necessarily say blow my account, but if you guys thought that the indices have big lot sizes, try silver. Yeah, contract size for gold is 100. Silver is 5,000. So one lot on gold and one lot on silver, there's a 50x difference. Alright guys, nothing here for me. I'm going to call it a stream. I really appreciate you guys coming Friday. Trade safe. Please do not try and do some things impulsively today. We've got quite a bit of news this afternoon. Jackson Hole, Michigan Consumer Index. We are back next week. I will do some work in terms of getting you guys on the New York stream. We'll just chat here in the office a little bit about logistics and see how we can plan that into the schedule. But I really appreciate everyone joining. Please do like this stream, leave a comment, follow us on Instagram. Instagram links are in the description. And I really appreciate all of you guys being here. Keeks, Jeevan, Hein. As always, thank you guys for being in the chat, and we will see you guys next week. Really appreciate it.
Check you next week.
Trade safe.
Cheers.